just cut that part out once you're on.
Yeah, right, exactly. Okay.
So, why did you choose your career?
I think for me it was, I think more than choosing, it's a calling. You know, being in ministry is, you know, something that I just felt led to. I didn't feel like, you know, I didn't look it up in a guidance book in high school. You know, and it was just, you know, something. I set out wanting to be a band teacher and a music instructor, and it just evolved into ministry, and I just felt called to it. You know, I really just felt like that's where God was leading and directing my life at that time.
What do you enjoy most about your career?
I love watching teenagers get it. You know, I love seeing teenagers when I first meet them as immature Christians or as young people, and to see them as graduated seniors or college students who are spiritually mature adults. You know, I love watching to see that transition. I love to see teenagers take ownership of their faith, and I love to watch that, and just to be able to communicate and connect with teenagers, is something that I just love to see.
What are the requirements in education that you need?
Really, it just depends upon the situation, but most churches require a Bachelor of Arts degree in youth ministry, and then, you know, just recommendations and, you know, on-the-job training. You know, and it's very easy to get on-the-job training because it's just a process of volunteering at your church, working at your church, and the more that you work in a church and in a church setting, you know, the more trust a church gets in you. And, you know, I have friends who have everywhere from, I have a friend who just got his doctorate in pastoral studies, and I got another friend who has a master's degree, and I have a friend who's a very successful youth minister who has no college degree. You know, and it just depends on the church, and it depends on what that particular church wants for you. But most youth ministers and most ministers in general have Bachelor of Arts degrees.
How long have you been in your career?
This is my, I've been in ministry for 10 years now. 8 full-time, 2 part-time. You know, it's been a great 10 years.
Is this what you originally wanted to do?
You know, and I kind of talked about that. I originally set out to be a band instructor at high school. You know, I wanted to be a teacher. And that's when I left high school, going into college with the thought I was going to be a teacher, whether it was a band teacher, a music teacher, or a history teacher. I loved history. One of those three was really where I was going to go. And just as I went through college, and I really just felt more and more led to go the ministry route. And when I graduated high school, when I graduated college, I graduated with the intention of going into full-time ministry. And so, in a sense, I am where I wanted to be after college, but I'm in a completely different arena. Not a completely different arena, because it's still education. It's just a different kind of education than when I first graduated high school.
How long did it take to get to where you are now?
You know, I think in ministry there's a lot less focus on hierarchy, you know, than you would in a typical 9-to-5 job. But, you know, I think in ministry there is a sense of you need to have a certain amount of experience to be entrusted with a ministry. You know, ministry of 30 plus teenagers. You know, you have to have some years of experience, and you have to have some credentials from other places. But you know, for the most part, you know, it's taken me several years, but nothing tremendous in the sense of a corporate ladder to climb. Nothing like that.
What does your job usually consist of?
Most of the time, my job is really divided into 2 parts. Part of it is worship ministry, part of it is youth ministry. and so I spend about an equal amount of time on both. I spend about 20 to 30 hours a week of office work, administrative things, lining up volunteers, doing studying for lessons that I'm going to teach, and research for new songs I might be doing, and writing, and orders of worship, and a lot of time on the phone with volunteers and setting that thing up. And then a large chunk of my time is also spent I'm just connecting with people. It's the nature of my job. It's not an office job in the sense I come and sit behind a desk for 8 hours a day and go home. It's really a lifestyle, and so a lot of time when I'm not behind this desk, I'm connecting with teenagers. I'm talking with people, and really just getting to know people in their daily lives. And so a lot of my work is done outside the office.
What advice could you give to someone who wants a job like yours?
It's a job of passion, and it's a job that you have to be passionate about. It's a job that you have to feel deeply called to. It's a job that you have to know going into that this isn't a job, it's a lifestyle. It's not a job that you can leave at the office and go on vacation or go away for the weekend. It's a job that you live with. It's a job that you live in, and it's a job that it's a part of you. And so it's a 24/7 commitment. It's a lifestyle commitment, and it's a commitment that the rest of my life is going to be devoted to ministry, and it's a commitment that you make. And I think the biggest thing I would say to people who are looking to get into it is to make sure that that's the passion you want for the rest of your life. Make sure that that's the passion you have in your life, and make sure that's something you want to share and you want to do. And if that's the case, dive in with both feet and do it with everything that you have.
Have you done any volunteer work?
I do. And I typically volunteer. And when you're in charge and you get paid to do a job that most people, many people volunteer in the church. People volunteer to clean at the church, or to teach Sunday school, or to be greeters, or to any number of things. We have lots and lots of people who volunteer at the church, and in society we have a lot of people who volunteer at the church. And so someone who essentially works at a church, I try to volunteer in outside places. I do public address for a local high school, and that's a way that I volunteer, and I do that on the outside. And so I do try to seek out things and organizations outside of our immediate church as a place to volunteer and to give back.
What are your day-to-day activities?
Typical day is I'm in the office by 7 o'clock most days, and I enjoy some personal quiet time and just catching up with some Bible reading, and then I spend some time getting into laying out what I got to do for the day. I spend some time.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. You're busy.
I spend some time just working on what I got coming up, and usually I leave for lunch at about 12, and then I spend some personal time. I work out, eat lunch, come back to the office at about 3, and then I'm usually in the office till between 4 or 5, depends on the day. And then I either go home for the day, I either spend some time in the evening, maybe doing some reading, or I may hang out with some teenagers at night. It just depends upon the day. I may go to an athletic event. It just depends upon the day. My nights are usually doing something, probably 4 nights of the week, or 4 nights of 7, I'm doing something ministry related. And that's really day to day for me. And
the last question, what classes did you take in college, and what was your major?
My major in college is, I have 2 majors. I have a degree in worship ministry, and I have a degree in youth ministry. And so I went to private Christian college, and a lot of classes in Bible, Bible theology. I also took a lot of classes in psychology, adolescent psychology, developmental psychology, educational psychology, and so I took a lot of education classes, a lot of ministry, how-to classes, a lot of Bible theology classes, a lot of worship classes, a lot of theory classes, and so with both degrees there's a lot of classes for both of those, but I would say the bulk of the classes I took were really theology and biblical classes. Sweet.
Well, thank you for doing this.
Awesome. Man, no problem. Hopefully that video came out.